his soul is still here, you know, within his music. It still resides on earth within his music, within his videos, within his performances, his overall impact in the world and overall impact in the music industry. Welcome back to my motherfucking channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Michael Jackson Oprah interview. I've explained it before. I've seen the interview before. Not the full entire interview. So some things here are very new to me. Some information that I did not know before. But I remember sitting down when I was like 19, so like last year or the year before that. Not last year, it was the year before that. I sat down and was watching a whole bunch of celebrity interviews, and that one came up, and I was like, I'm really interested in it. But it was only like a 30-minute section of the interview. The interview was an hour and some minutes long. But nonetheless, I watched the entire interview, wrote down a whole bunch of interesting shit. And at the end, I'm just going to give my overall opinion of the interview and everything that I feel like needs to be talked about. So let's get into this. I'm absolutely ready. Before I start, please like and subscribe. My question of the day to you guys is, what is your thoughts on this specific interview? He has done a lot of interviews, some controversial interviews, but this one is one of his biggest interviews of all time. It's really when he let the world know, like, he opened up to the world for, like, the very first time, basically, and let the people in and showed them that he's not the weirdo that everybody thinks he is. So let's really get into this. I'm absolutely ready. Before I start, please like and subscribe. I feel like I already said that. But let's go. It starts off the interview. It's very beautiful intro of the interview. Random, I don't know if they're random people, but people are doing a voiceover of just going off on his legacy and how iconic and legendary this man is, and basically how he's just the king of pop. The next thing that happens is Oprah comes on. She says he is the most elusive superstar of all time. And I was like, oh, bitch, this is going to be a great interview. And I was just like, I'm fucking ready, okay? The interview thus far was giving me really good hopes and intentions of the interview. Then they started to talk about his history as an artist. And his history is nothing short of incredible. I mean, that's what they said in the interview. Nothing short of incredible, and that is 100% facts. And I love this. I love this section of the interview. It really gave the world an eye opener, or a sort of a reminder. Like, Michael Jackson is one of the greatest artists in history. He is literally he's like a Beethoven. He is like a Michael Jackson. Exactly. Then they started talking about Motown and how they knew that he was going to be a star based off their very first, performance time seeing him. He has literally been a star, a superstar, like a world-renowned legend since he was the age of, what, I believe it was 5 or 6. Literally, he has been in the public eye and still to this day, even after his death, he is still in the public eye. And he was born in the 50s, almost 70 years, almost 70, I don't know. I'm not good with math, you guys. I'm really not. Michael's entrance into this interview was so chilling, even to this day, because I remember, like I said, I watched it a few years ago. Not the whole thing, like I said. But I remember watching him walk in, and I was just like, oh my God, Michael Michael Jackson. Like, every time I see Michael Jackson, I'm just like, oh my God, Michael Jackson, you know? He's like a wow factor. He is literally an inventor of a whole genre, if we're being honest, okay? And when he just walked in there, I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. And he said he wasn't nervous. I thought he would have been nervous. You know, it was his first interview in like 14 years, she said. That's crazy. Then they started talking about his inspiration from James Brown, Jackie Wilson, the Bee Gees, and Motown. And I love that. I absolutely love that they talked about that, you know. Like, I love when I can find out who my favorite artist was inspired by. I absolutely love that. Absolutely. Then they started talking about him on and off stage as a child. He said to this day, he was very happy and most comfortable on stage, but when he got off stage, he was sad, and that made me sad. You know, he got his whole childhood taken away. We're gonna get into more of that, but I just found it so sad. You know, like something that made him so happy also made him so sad. It was very saddening. He wanted to play with the other kids, you know, and like have a normal childhood. He said he was very into his work. He loved doing, you know, what he did, but it also made him very sad because he couldn't be a childhood. He couldn't be a childhood. He couldn't be a child. He couldn't go anywhere without a limo or some security guards from such a young age. That has to take effect on how somebody is, you know, raised and stuff, for sure. And then they started talking about how every child has an escape, which is absolutely, I mean, it should be absolutely true. I can't say every child has an escape because there are kids like Michael, but he explained how every child has an escape and he doesn't, which again made me so sad because when you're a kid, that's when you can experience, you know, things the most. Like, that's when your mind is like growing and becoming who you are going to be when you're an adult. And he just got that stripped away from him because of showbiz. But he, at the same time, he showed so much respect for, you know, the showbiz and stuff like that. And then they started talking about the family, which I was glad he talked about the family at the time. And he started talking about how they all really love each other, and no matter what the, you know, the public eye thinks or the media says, they all loved and had respect for each other, and they were never jealous of each other. That's the question she asked. She said, have you ever felt any sort of jealousy from your brothers? And I was just like, why would you ask somebody that? Like, no, they are family, you know? I love Oprah, and I understand she was doing an interview, and that's what interviewers do, but she was asking some risky questions, okay? Then he said the public wants to keep you young. They want to keep you a child forever, which is so true, which is why they capitalize off children at a very young age and make them, you know, be stuck in that way forever. The Malcolm in the Middle kid, his name is Malcolm in the show, he is going through so much because he started off at such a young age. It's never good for somebody's mentality or their, you know, their mental strength. Like, kids need to be kids and not forced to be something that they don't want to be. And I really love that he spoke up about that. I really, really do. Yeah. And then he starts to talk about his dad and how he wishes he knew he wishes he knew and understood him better. Which is like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that he felt that way towards his dad. I knew that his dad was the man that he is, but I did not know that he felt that way about his dad. Which is very understandable for the, you know, the things that they had to go through. He wished he understood and knew him better, which made me kind of sad. It really did, because Michael, anytime you see Michael, he's always smiling and all this other stuff, but deep down he just really wants to, you know his dad, his own dad better. And parents really need to take notes. They really need to take notes. They really need to listen to their kids better. They need to talk with their kids, and they don't. They really don't. And people end up growing up hating their parents secretly and never saying a word about it because of the way they were raised. And it's fucked up. It truly is. He was beaten by his dad, and he was very scared of him because he was very stern. He said he even got sick by the sight of him, which is, again, very understandable. But he said he has forgiven him, which I understand. You know, Michael is a very loving person, and sometimes you have to just forgive and forget. But I don't know if I could forgive that. But we love Michael's beautiful, beautiful soul, so we're gonna go with it. You know. Then he starts talking about the media, which I was like, interesting. Then they started talking about, and I did not know this was a thing. People were saying that he sleeps in an oxygen chamber to keep him young. What kind of delusional people? But it makes so much sense to me because I see so many articles nowadays about the artists nowadays that just are complete bullshit. And it's so sad how these media companies can like actually do that to somebody. Celebrities are humans, you guys. They truly are. And I do not like the way Michael Jackson was treated whatsoever. And I don't like the way stars nowadays are treated. It sucks, truly. But he was very forgiveful of the press, and then he said he did not buy the Elephant Man's bones, which I guess was another rumor going around. He said he loved the movie, and or not the movie, the you know, I don't know if it was a movie, I forget. But he loved the whole situation. He's seen himself in the Elephant Man. And I think that was such a great thing, and the media takes such a great thing like that and twists it up and makes it weird. They're truly fucking weird, bro. And then and then she asked him about his skin, and he said he's very proud to be a black man. And then they start to get into the skin disorder. He says there's no such thing as skin bleaching, which back in the day, there probably wasn't, because it just now is like starting to happen where you can like actually make your skin a different color. He had a skin disorder that destroyed the pigment in the skin, and it turned him into his skin white. You know, he didn't turn into a white man. His skin just turned white. And the fact that I'm 100% sure he was very insecure about that. The fact that they turned an insecurity against him and made him feel like shit for that, fuck the press. It'll always be fuck the press. That is such a sad, like, thing. And, like, I can only imagine what he was going through, you know, personally. It sucks. He said his skin started changing after Thriller, and that is very true. And then she asked him about plastic surgeries. He said he only had 2 plastic surgeries in total. Which, I mean, I believe it. I mean, if he's telling me that he only had... Why would you try to make somebody feel like they're lying just because they're a celebrity? That doesn't even make sense. And I want to say this. If I had the money to get some plastic surgery, I probably would. And that's 1,000% the truth. A lot of people shame celebrities for having something wrong with their original, you know, face or body, whatever. And then when they get the plastic surgery to make them, you know, feel better about themselves, they shame them for getting plastic surgery. Nobody can ever be perfect. And that was Michael's thing. He is a perfectionist. And like I said, being a perfectionist, he said he was never pleased with himself, with his appearance, never was, which kind of made me sad because Michael Jackson is so fucking sexy. I mean, at least to me. So that made me sad. It kind of did. And then they started talking about crotch grabbing, which I couldn't wait to talk about in this this video. Michael is an artist. He was explaining how he feels the music, and honestly, I knew I wasn't the only one, but when I smoke weed and I'm listening to music, I can feel it. I love the music. Michael's energy was so advanced that he didn't have to smoke weed to do that. He is a true artist. Like I said, he is a Van Gogh. He is a Beethoven. He is a king. He is the king of actual music. And I don't care what anybody has to say about that. He is the only one that can give that kind of energy, have that so much passion for what he's doing, whether that be a performance, a music video, a song, an album. It doesn't matter. He is a legend, okay? And then they started talking about how many records he has broken and all this other stuff. And then he just said, I don't make music for, record breaking or statistics. He makes it from the heart and from the soul. And that right there just goes to show you Michael Jackson is literally one of the greatest to ever do it. Like, somebody that can just come out and say that, like, hey, I understand it's pretty impressive, okay, but this is natural. This is music, okay? That's what music is supposed to be, and I fucking love that. Love you, Michael Jackson, period. And then they started talking about his dating life. At the moment, he was dating Brooke Shields, which I didn't know who that was, but you go, girl. You better get that Michael D, period. No, but then she asked if he was ever been in love, and he says, of course, and then he says he's also in love with Brooke Shields. And then she proceeds to ask him if he's a virgin. These are the questions I'm talking about. Why would you ask somebody that? A grown man. Of course he's not a virgin. I mean, he's Michael Jackson. He could point his finger and get some pussy anywhere, Like, period. And I would give it to him, okay? Like, he was so uncomfortable when she asked him that question. Like, just making it out to, like, seem like he's a weird person or something. Like, not everybody wants to talk about how they lost their virginity, And it's so understandable. So, Oprah, please do better, okay? Then he says he wanted a normal life, growing up he wanted kids, he wanted a wife, just the normal life, which I don't think did he ever have a wife? I feel like he had a wife before, but I don't think he ever actually settled down with somebody. I'm not 100% sure of that. I never heard of a Michael Jackson girlfriend, especially around the time that he passed away, but I know he had 3 kids, so I mean, he got some of it, and I'm sure his kids made him beyond happy, because that's all he ever talks about is just how beautiful and amazing kids are, which is true, okay? Which is very true. And then she asked him who quenches his desire. And immediately when she said that, I was like, oh my God, give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. And then he sang a little bit of Give In to Me, and my coochie was like, oh my God. Like, I was so shook, girl. Y'all know how I feel about Give In to Me. You know how I feel about it, okay? Then Elizabeth Taylor comes out, and Oprah asks her what she wants the world to know about Michael Jackson. She said he's very intelligent, very understanding, very generous. And I love that. Absolutely love that. He could have somebody like that in his life. Especially, she said this, that they both have similar childhoods. And that's where they really started bonding. And I love that he could have somebody in his life like that, that understood him and really cared and showed so much love and compassion for him. I fucking love that. We stand you as well, Liz Taylor. We do. He explains how every 3 weeks they have, kids that are sick and are dying from cancer and stuff come to the amusement park, and he talks about giving them an escape, one that he couldn't have as a child. He was compensating for what he missed out on his childhood, giving those kids an escape and stuff, like I said. And that right there just shows you what kind of heart he has. He's a very loving person, and I aspire to be that loving one day. I truly do. And then he says he aspires to be as pure and as like as open-minded as children, which is very true. Children are underrated. As I said, children are going to shape our futures, okay? The children that are growing up right now as we speak, they're going to be our doctors in a few decades. They're going to be our nurses. They're going to be our firefighters, our police officers. The way that we treat children will affect them when they grow up. They remember things, and I don't believe people understand how important it is to make sure your child keeps that purity their entire childhood, okay? And then he says he wouldn't change absolutely anything about his childhood. He's happy now, and he just wouldn't change anything about his life, which is very understandable because it made him the person that he is today. And if he did have a normal childhood and didn't grow up in the public eye, wasn't Michael Jackson, he couldn't have done these things for these kids. I believe he understands this. Like, going to, like, let's say he went to China and performed. These people that are in China, his fans, that is going to change their lives. Like, getting to see their favorite artist perform for them, like Michael Jackson, to say the least, that's gonna stick with them for the rest of their lives. People don't understand that Michael Jackson changed lives even with a simple performance. It's kind of chilling if you think about it, okay? And then they talk about where the moonwalk originated from. He said he got it from kids in the hood. And I was like, oh, I'm shook about that. I thought that was a dance before Michael Jackson. I didn't know he invented it. Well, I know he invented it, but I did not know that he got it from the, the hood. I was shook by that. And then he gave us a little cute, the little cute performance. I think Michael Jackson is so cute. I swear, just look at him. He is so handsome. And I fucking love that. Absolutely, man. Like, just look at him, little cute self. And his laugh is so precious, I swear. I could listen to him laughing all day, I swear. And like I said, being a perfectionist, he goes on and talks about how he cried after the first time doing the moonwalk, Motown 25. And then a kid came up to him and was like, wow, who taught you how to dance like that? And it changed him. He was like, you're shook. And as I would be too. But I can't believe he was crying. That's crazy. That was such a good performance. And then he gave us a beatbox acapella session of, not given to me, Who Is It? Oh my God, I love Who Is It so fucking much. Can't wait to talk about it in the recap of the Dangerous Era. It was beautiful. That whole little session, I loved it. He's just so cute. I swear, he's so cute. And then they talk about how he really changed music videos. He really pioneered that timeless movie kind of effect. That's what I'm saying. His music videos are not music videos. They are movies. They are very, very well, they're not underrated because they are perfect. They are what people go to. He is the blueprint, And he really changed that whole aspect of music videos and what music videos should be. And I love that they talked about that. And still, to this day, there's artists that are very inspired by his music videos. Beyonce, Adele, Chris Brown, Bruno Mars, who else? Kanye West, Ariana Grande. So many people are inspired by Michael Jackson's videos, and that's what's so inspiring to me, is that he inspired my favorite people that I listen to nowadays. It's everything. And then he talks about how he is an instrument of nature, which I love that he said that. He's a very spiritual person. That's what he said. And like I said, he changed people's lives just by doing a performance, And I fucking love that. He's very committed to his art, and I appreciate that oh so much. And then Give In To Me was premiered. The video, which, bitch, if I was, I probably was alive. Was I? No, that was the 90s. I was not alive. If I was alive, though, girl, that would have probably been, like, the greatest moment of my life. A Michael Jackson interview and a video premiere. Bitch, fuck yeah. I was so shook when they started talking about it. You guys know how I feel about Give In To Me. I think it's my favorite Michael Jackson song of all time, if I'm being honest. And then he talks about how animals basically give him the same vibe as like children do, which is very true. He said they're so pure, so innocent, which is very true. He was so ahead of his time, because nowadays, back then, people treated animals and kids as if they were like tools in their getting ahead in life. Back in the 50s, I feel like just now, recently, people are taking kids serious and they're taking animals serious. People treated animals and kids as if they were dirt, and he hated that. And now I feel like his dream is finally coming true. Kids and animals are being more like respected. If I'm being honest, I've seen it more now, you know? And the last thing they talked about is, what does he want the world to know about Michael Jackson? And he said to be loved. And that was one of the simplest, most greatest answers I've ever heard in my fucking life, because that's it. That's all you need is love in your life, you know? And that sucks, because Michael Jackson was such an amazing person and the world is so undeserving of him. It sucks. It truly sucks that he just wanted to spread love, but everybody was just throwing hate back in his face, and it sucks. Okay, here's my overall thoughts of the interview. My thoughts of the interview itself were, it was very well maintained, and it was very, I wrote down professional, but I don't want to say professional because Oprah was asking some weird ass questions, man. I honestly found a newfound respect for Michael in this interview, and he just wanted the world to know his heart was big. His heart was truly big, and his soul was felt. But the world was just, like I said, so undeserving of it. His soul is still here, you know, within his music. It still resides on earth within his music, within his videos, within his performances. His overall impact in the world and overall impact in the music industry. And even though the world treated him like shit, he didn't look at it in that way. He looked at it as if he was here to make beautiful music and shine a light on a dark, cruel, cold world. A warm light on a dark, cruel, cold world. And he did just that. He did it to his best of his ability to make people not feel as shitty as they do, you know. Because he was the only one that stuck up for, like, a lot of people. AIDS victims, children, animals, women. It sucks the way they treated him. So as a stan, I guess I can be happy that he was happy with that, and it does make me happy that he found a happiness in his life. But this was so inspirational. I love it. I love hearing people's stories and how far they've come, how strong they had to be. I absolutely love it. Overall, the interview, the energy of that interview gave me, and I'm sure millions of other people, it gave them an energy that will be felt for centuries to come. They will be talking about Michael Jackson in the year 3000, okay? And I want people to get that through their head. They will be talking about Michael Jackson in the year 3000. But I guess that's it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Bye, motherfuckers.